Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. We starting off one time. I mean, when Rowley put Shamfa Cudjoe as Minister of Sport, all you know he ain't care about sport. But hear what they're saying about the community pools that have gone down and not been operational throughout Trinidad and Tobago, just like all the stadia, everything that is collapsing. Manny Ramjohn is a total disgrace. Everything collapsing and falling apart. But the community pools to be refurbished by March, says the Ministry of Sport. For the past 4 years, citizens across Trinidad and Tobago have had the desire to access their community pools, either for competitive or recreational swimming. However, many pool facilities in the nation have deteriorated due to mismanagement and lack of maintenance. Yet the PNM still there. Mismanagement and lack of maintenance. And we will check by March. Plenty of them will still be closed. And on top of that, the pools for recreational and competitive swimming, the PNM just closed them at 4 p.m. on Friday. They close on Saturday. They close on Sunday. When people go swim, when they have to be in the office, when the children go swim, when they're in school, when they go train, all your PNM have no brain whatsoever. Whereas leave Shamfa right there. Money woes, Guardian Sport, page 39, Wednesday, February 8th. Money woes forced Trinidad and Tobago boxers back home, but the PNM want to spend money on all kind of things. 7 boxers from the Trinidad and Tobago boxing team, inclusive of Olympian boxer Nigel Paul, were forced to miss the current Golden Belt boxing series in Morocco and the coming Independence Cup scheduled for February 15th to 20th in the Dominican Republic. Tiana Guy, considered one of the country's better female fighters, a female minister of sport and a female fighter fighting for red, white and black, and cannot get a little money support to all the blood, sweat and tears. But all you say they have no difference between Kamla and the PNM? Are you really serious? She has had to dip into her own pocket to make the trip to Marrakesh, Morocco, where she went down in a controversial decision to Spain's Nayara Arroyo Rodriguez 3-2 on Monday morning. She also has to pay her own way to the Dominican Republic, where she will meet Prince, the country's middleweight boxer, who has had to pay his own way as well. Everybody had to pay their own way, had to have curry and barbecue since this reach. But she will have Louis Vuitton. And she could go and get her nails, and you're all jealous because she could go and she weave and she nails, and this come in and that go out, and whichever doctor helps she, all you go ahead. That is what politics are about. And she say all your people must sacrifice, or our athletes must sacrifice because they don't have a minister of sport, because in the cabinet she's a non-entity. Rowley put she there because she knows nothing about sport, just like he put the minister man who knows nothing about WASA, so that Rowley don't have to argue with nobody. He could get all the money he want to funnel through Noel Garcia and whatever projects Noel Garcia want to do. Because I tell you, Nolly, I went to Massey stores in Alice Glen and I see Noel Ugly Garcia with a big bag so coming out the grocery. I didn't know Massey stores had them big bag. And then I swear I see Rowley name mark on the bag, you know. And I wondered, but what Noel Garcia have a bag with Rowley name on it for? I couldn't understand. But Archie tell me I didn't have my glasses yet, so I'm not sure. As I say, Noel Garcia, Archie, the PNM boasting that they fix up Skinner Park for 131 million. And Noel Garcia, who's Rowley's super duper man, who's so good and better than the whole PNM, that he does bill, you could move she and put Noel Garcia anytime you want. And this year you could leave that picture too. That is the field. Now for all you who does play football, just watch the 18-yard area and the sideline. That's what Noel Garcia and them bill for 131 million. And then here, Noel Garcia, UDICOT chairman Noel Garcia says the design for the football field at the newly refurbished Skinner Park in San Fernando was never intended to host international games, stating that the park is not a football stadium, but a place for a mixture of both culture and sport. Garcia said the intent of the field was really for secondary schools football and local community games. Let me tell you something. Number one, Noel Idiot Garcia. All over the world, stadia are made for a amalgamation of culture, music, arts and sport, entertainment. Wembley Stadium, since 1987, I went to see Genesis in concert in Wembley Stadium. And 2 days later, England play international football. And the next 2 weeks, they play a rugby union international. The next week after that, there are next concert and an art show. Then they had a driving them monster truck show with dirt and jumps and so on. So you are totally clueless. You spend 131 million and telling we that the football field good for secondary schools. Nonsense. Secondary schools football is under 20 football. That means when Messi, do you know what age Argentina, Maradona play, sit down on the bench in the World Cup in 78? 17 years old. Secondary schools league is under 20 football. That is high level, big level, fast young boy football. You need the requirements of 65 yards in width and 100 yards. You come to tell we could play secondary schools football there? I play against Presentation College in Skinner Park in the Big 7 in 1987. Presentation College, the Nutsman tell me if we only beat Presentation, he go block the roads and Fatima car pass back. This Presentation had Anthony Sherwood, Romano Paul, all of them, a fella called Bertram, big fast red man running down the wing. We beat them 1-0, but we should have lost our game 10-1 because they had a double header from the semi-professional league the night before and they didn't roll the pitch. So it had semi-pro football, meaning National League football, and then it had Big 7 intercall football on a field that was normal. Well, look also. So who is this here? Remember when I asked, this is a post by a footballer, about the field at Skinner Park? Watch how close the touchline is to the 18-yard box. Is this why they had closed the open up Skinner Park? Is this why the game between Presentation College and Benedict was cancelled? Obviously. And we paid how much million? 131 million. Now, whoever posts that, understand this now. You, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, paid 131 million, Archie, to downgrade Skinner Park. So Noel Garcia, look at what Skinner Park was before you skin your ugly teeth. Show the games, show some of the international fixtures. Archie have an image day with games from 1947 coming back with international fixtures. Guys, blow it up big there. I don't need to see myself. Let me read some of them games. Guyana, date. Yeah, go to right. Skinner Park, San Fernando. Guyana, FIFA World Cup qualifier. Guyana, 0. Trinidad and Tobago, 1. That in 1988. Then, India, an international friendly against India in Skinner Park. International football friendly. Trinidad and Tobago 3, India 0. 1981, Canada, big side. Trinidad and Tobago versus Canada, Skinner Park. We lost 4-2, right? 1981, Barbados, CFU, Caribbean Football Union Championship qualifier. Trinidad and Tobago, 1-1. Haiti, 1980, Skinner Park. FIFA World Cup qualifier. Trinidad and Tobago beat Haiti in Skinner Park. International football. World Cup football. 1978, Antigua Barbuda. 1972, Suriname FIFA World Cup qualifier. 1967, Jamaica. And you come and spend $131 million to downgrade we stadium, to downgrade Skinner Park, and talking with your ugly dotish PNM out and telling people about college league could play there. But you all people accept this fool. You PNM people, this is the man that Rowley have built in airport, hospital block, health center, every house in Trinidad and Tobago, police station, stadium, community center, fire station, president's house, Rowley house in Tobago for the prime minister, red house that falling apart. This one clown. Why? Why must he spend all the money? Why? Keep it tight. And then he spent $131 million in San Fernando to downgrade Skinner Park from what it was to now what it is. Nothing. And what it is for PNM to go and sing stupid calypso? Nobody interested in calypso. You have to give away all them tickets free. And only PNM members will bother to go down there to hear any nonsense. And this is what all you're talking about. But I didn't just stop there, you know. Because it's a very serious thing to spend $131 million to downgrade something that was built way back in the 40s, 30s or 40s. And the PNM so incompetent in 2023 that them make it worse than them people way back 100 years ago. The PNM is 100 years behind. I send my national footballer, my captain, my senator, the first man from Trinidad and Tobago to play in the Champions League, a first European contract, Grasshoppers FC. And so I say, David Naked, go down Skinner Park and tell me who you see. Play it, Archie.
Okay, Trinidad and Tobago. I told you I'd come down, and I did. I'm here at Skinner Park, the newly refurbished Skinner Park. Now, as I said before, this is an iconic stadium. I played here with the national youth team at 17 years old under the icon Bertil Sinclair. I played here with Maple Football Club under the icon called Alvin Cornell. So I know this stadium. This stadium has been refurbished. And remember this figure at the cost of $131 million. That is almost 22 million US dollars. I'll tell you the significance of that after. Now, if you look here, that stage is where the field is supposed to be. Now, by my measurements, because I walked on the field with a quantity surveyor before doing this video, that field is good for 8 and a goalkeeper if it's adults. But for big men, this is not an appropriate football field. Now, I'm not saying the size is not a standard, what we call standard size by FIFA measurements. The width is about 44, 45, but it is highly recommended. For that width, you should play under 14, under 15 football maximum. Even secondary school football here is a no-go if you are a serious football nation. Secondary schools football here is a no-no. The width for secondary schools football should be at least 65 meters. At least 65 meters and length at least 100 meters. Okay, but I have more pressing concerns. This field is allegedly cost $131 million. Now the quantity surveyor and I walked around, we looked. We have a seating capacity of no more, including the bleachers and the covered stands, 1,200, I would imagine, 1,200. We have some boxes up. I guess that is for the PNM VIP or whoever. But let's say if you include bleachers, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. If you include bleachers on that side, the other side of the stadium, you might get a maximum capacity of 2,000. And let me tell you why I'm telling you all of this. I did my research, and by comparative analysis, the closest thing I found to this would be what you call the Virginia Sportsplex in Virginia Beach. In Virginia Beach, they built a soccer-specific stadium, pretty much like this one, with two levels here by the covered stands, and a seating capacity of 6,000. 6,000. With bleachers, they could expand to 17,000. 17,000. That's why I mentioned the bleacher part. That stadium, with the specs and what the concession areas, everything, is at a much higher level than this stadium. That is not my words, that's the quantity surveyor. This is what you call a skeletal stadium. Everything here is bare minimum. The chairs, the quality of the chairs, you know, it's what he said, concrete and chairs and a little glass. Cost you 131 million. By our estimate, well, then before I tell you about our estimate, by his estimate, the stadium in Virginia Beach cost by present terms taken into consideration the inflation and all that, it cost 12 million US dollars. 12 million US dollars. Seating capacity 17,000 with bleachers. 17 million. And 2023, it cost 12 million, sorry. 17,000 seating capacity. Here we have 1,200. We have an undersized field. We have a cycling track that if my brother Senator Anil Roberts saw this, he would laugh for about two hours. So it's a very, very, very poorly ill-conceived stadium that PNM has given to the South, but it's plenty for money. I think we know that now about PNM and especially about Rowley. And Noel Garcia, boy, you had the belly to come and tell people 131 million.
That's what you get with the PNM. 131 million. And actually there's another article from 2012 showing something about community football coming down. I don't know if you have the image. Let me, San Fernando future football stars. This is from Saturday, November 3rd. November 3rd is a good day. That's my little daughter's birthday, but she wasn't born way back then. 2012. Let me see this. Some 30 teams are expected to contest the San Fernando Future Football Stars Tournament, hosted by the San Fernando Sporting Academy in collaboration with the Southern Football Association Youth Development Program at Skinner Park, San Fernando from 8:30 a.m. today. Well, all of them things all you're doing cannot be done again because Noel Garcia come and shrink all your field. It's mini-me. All you're going to play there, under 14 only, for 131 million in a park that hosted World Cup qualifiers, and he coming to tell me that it's not a football stadium, but it's a mix of culture all over the world. I have been to New Camp. I have been to 2 World Cups, 2006, 3 different stadiums. I went to World Cup in 2010. And I watched 4 games in 4 different stadia. I've been across Europe, everything. I went to Olympics 1996, 2004, 2012. I've been across the globe, and all of these stadia are multi-purpose, culture and sport, entertainment. And they never shrink a field, or shrink a swimming pool, or shrink a basketball court, or shrink an ice hockey rink. Gothenburg, Sweden, 1997 World Indoor Swimming Championships, 25-meter short course was on over an ice hockey rink. Leah Martindale and Siobhan Cropper, who I coach, made the final in the women's 50 freestyle. First time 2 black women ever stand up in a final of a world championship 50-meter sprint. That was over ice hockey rink. But this man come to tell you, this is not for sport, this is not for football, this is for culture and sport. Noel Garcia, you shrink it just like your brain. You shrink it just like what you had that have you forcing yourself upon girl and them. And Noel Garcia, to give them work. That's what you do for 131 million? And some of you all say that's okay, leave them. Rowley say other people thief, eh? And then as we stay in with football, I saw this article, Archie, and a youth man who want to play for Trinidad and Tobago on the under-17 in qualifying, Caribbean qualifying and CONCACAF qualifying for World Cup. All he needed was Fitzgerald et Albert's Sleepy Hines signature. And they couldn't find him. He didn't show up. The boy needed a signature from the Minister of National Security so that he could represent Trinidad and Tobago, and they could not find Sativa, Sleepy, Narcolepsy, Fitzgerald et Albert Hines. Imagine that. I wonder if on Friday yesterday, they eventually found him. So the whole team gone. And this youth man who wants to represent his country cannot, because this man was sleeping somewhere. Always sleeping away. And Archie, in the Senate, he managed to stay awake, you know, Archie, run it. I want to commend the Honorable Minister of National Security, though, definitely earlier today, for his entire 45 minutes. He managed to stay awake, and I know that took a lot of effort. Boy, this man has no shame whatsoever. Guyana, best, Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this, you know. Because what we have become accustomed to in Trinidad and Tobago, our oil and gas, our brilliance, sporting achievement, being the mecca of sport in the Caribbean, football, CFU champions, track and field, only Jamaica could beat us, swimming, we dominate, going across the board, table tennis, come down, hockey, all of these things falling by the wayside. We also used to star in academics across the board. In O levels, A levels, Trinidad and Tobago was tops. But look what I have to read on page 11 of the Newsday now. Guyana best Trinidad and Tobago at CXC's major awards. Guyanese students have copped the lion's share of the Caribbean Examinations Council Awards for science, business, and humanities. Trinidad and Tobago won for creative and expressive arts, as well as on individual subjects. In total, 40 nationals will be honored, while 21 Guyanese will be honored. When Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Tim Gopi Singh and Fazal Karim were in charge of education, this was the reverse. Trinidad and Tobago would have gotten 22 out of 25. Move the Urban Ali, please, and Kamla, please now. Move those two who are successful and have track record and results to show in education, and leave this flipping dunce here. Leave he here, this dotish one, right, that have our children at the bottom of the barrel, and he talking arrogantly as Noel Garcia wastes with money. This dotish dunce clown called Keith Christopher Rowley, put him there, because that's where we have gone, because we following the leader into the chasm of stupidity. Data education corroboration needed for technical vocational education, says an independent senator, Paul Richards. Listen to independent Senator Paul Richards. Public education collaboration between institutions, data-driven offerings, and increased funding are some of the initiatives needed to increase the status of technical and vocational education and training, TVET. Paul Richards, you just born, or you were here between May 2010 and September 2015? Were you around when Kamla Prasad Bisesa had Tim Gopi Singh and Fazal Karim as the two ministers in education, and GATE was expanded from 300 million to 726 million, and Tech Voc education was expanded and included in GATE, and 12 MIC centers were built, and 11 NESC centers were built, and Fazal Karim had the opportunity for all trades and all crafts, tailors and so on, to go in and get certification so they could get loans and so on to enhance their business. Where Tech Voc was respected, he opened a nursing school in El Dorado when I gave him a youth center that wasn't being used. I gave him that in the Ministry of Science and Tertiary. He rehabilitated it and turned it into a nursing training school. And since then, the PNM has come and shut it down. But before they shut it down, Fazal Karim and Kamla trained over 3,600 nurses. You weren't alive and around for that. You just wake up after Rowley and them cut everything. You come in like, oh, you have the answers? The answers were there, Paul Richards. Why don't you read? Why don't you research and talk the truth? You feel because you come out strong on one clause, oh, you're independent? Paul, rest your brother now, okay? Look at what our teachers have to go through under Rowley. A teacher waiting to pick up his child at music lessons And look what happened to he. Run it, Archie. Watch this. He's sitting down there, relaxing. Now, obviously, a teacher's salary can't afford to buy no Mercedes Benz or no Hilux SUV and so on. He in a little Toyota, right? And look what happening in Trinidad and Tobago under Keith Rowley and Sleepy Fitzgerald et Albert Hines. That just so in broad daylight, with no fear, with no qualms about being caught, just so, look what will happen to a law-abiding citizen in this country. And Fitzgerald et Albert Hines will sit down and tell you that he is not in charge of providing a policy and so on. Look, this man just come out just so. He looked like he just decided that he was walking somewhere and he see a man there, look, he partner on the left, and them just come in to throw a man out with a gun in their hand. Broad daylight. He looked like he's a whacker man whacking with gun. Take a teacher who teaches our children out of his car. They won't even let him get his things out the back. And he's waiting there for his child and just take a man's car. They're so stupid they cannot even drive properly. Look at them. That is the lives of citizens in this country. Who going to help this man? Which government official going to help him? How was he able to get his child back? Do you know how he felt? How emasculated he felt? That two miscreants, that dotish, dodo-head, lazy fools are now in charge of the country. That law-abiding people are at the mercy of miscreants because Fitzgerald et Albert, narcolepsy, dotish, sleepy, Sativa Hines is the Minister of National Security. And Keith Christopher Noel Garcia Rowley is the Prime Minister. You all still feel elections is a joke, is a football team. Who win, yellow win or red win? You know, it's not that. It's about heart and soul because politics impacts your lives daily. And while we talking that, Guyana, not only they get all the oil, the gas, the good government, the good president, the intelligent ministers, the good attorney general, them now getting all the scholarship and all the awards. And look what we getting under the PNM. School fight, food, school cost, school beat, watch. Only just watch it. There are many more, but I can't even bear to see all of them. And while that is going on, let me read for you. Snaky crowned young king. Good for Snaky, congratulations. So I went to see and read and listen to what the tune was that win. Hear the tune that win, young king in Calypso. And then they want to know why everybody's laugh at Calypsonian. That calypsonian is a laughing stock, that nobody want to buy a ticket, that all you're only getting money because PNM give all you if they feel to give you, and they give you what they want, when they want, and how they want. If you feel that's what art form is about, well, good for y'all. That's why nobody ain't paying for no money to go in no tent. That's why all of it bust. That's why nobody will buy a CD. That's why your tune can't play on the radio, because nobody wants to hear stupidity. Hear what Snaky win with. What you need again, Trinbago? He asked Trinidad and Tobago what more it needed after 60 years, saying the country had accomplished so many things. He gone back 60 years to find things that we accomplished, when right in front of his face, have Police Service Commission collapse, have 614 murders, have 71 murders in the month where he write the calypso and sing it. It have pothole anywhere you go. 123,000 people out of jobs. No petrol train. Couva, Point Lisa's down at 28% from a high of 76%. Poverty, no US. Bust home invasions. Agricultural policy non-existent. Food price inflation killing people. Fighting school. Children making children. Licks all over. And he see Oh, Trinidad and Tobago, we did so much good in 6 years. What else we want? Here what we want, Snakey. We want Rowley out. We want the PNM out. We want an independent president. We want a speaker of the house who allows opposition to discuss. We want independent institutions to function. We want the media to not be so beholden to the PNM, so biased. We want the fourth estate to do their job. We want crime to come under control. We want a minister of national security could stay awake and give a policy and give resources. We want a substantive commissioner of police who is not beholden to the cabinet for any extension or any contract. We want a minister of education who understands her duty and her leadership and does not spend time trying to see which man she likes more in the cabinet. We want a minister of sport who understands sport and investment. We want a minister of energy who is not an idiot, who does not negotiate and sell out with gas and we make a loss for the first time in history. We want a minister of finance who could read a financial account and balance sheet and understand it, and not an engineer who does build stadium to fall down. We want transparency, accountability, corporate governance. We want one person on one board. We want procurement legislation. We don't want PNM interference and government interference in every aspect. We want to know how Balize House going up. Why all you supporting corruption, Snakey? What the people want is calypsonians to write the truth. Calypsonians to sing as they used to before 1986. Calypsonians used to be the newspaper of the people, speaking for the downtrodden, whoever speaking against power. That's what we want, Snakey. So don't tell me about we do plenty and it's right what you went to find to sing. Poor you, enjoy your title. A title among nothing is a title for you. Well, good for you, I'm happy for you. From one man to the next. Here I am. Crow Crow, I hear you sing a tune. Well, I read your tune, you know. But Inshan Ishmael going to sue you. Now, Crow Crow, you see, there are politicians like me who will hear your stupidity and ignore you. As Dr. Williams said, let the jackass bray. And you, sir, are a perfect jackass. So people like me, you could sing where you want, me and care, me ain't going and bother to go and sue you and go through that process of pre-action protocol and go through 5 years of me and that. My skin tick. But you see, you went at Inshan Ishmael and he's not a politician. And he decided now that he's going to stand up and defend his name. Well, Crow Crow, I's not a lawyer. My mother is a lawyer, my father is a lawyer, my two brothers is a lawyer, my sister is a lawyer, my son go be a lawyer in June, right? But me ain't no lawyer, but I'm a bush lawyer. But Crow Crow, let Anil give you some advice. You don't have to take my stupid advice. But let me tell you something, Crow Crow. You better go on stage and sing, Inshan, I'm sorry. Inshan, please forgive me. Inshan, I made a mistake. I didn't check my facts, Inshan. You better go and do that at the same level that you sang the words that affected the individual. Let me tell you why, Crow Crow. Because I know you're not too bright. Okay? In your song, Crow Crow, you said, so after that, Ishmael, where the hell wrong with you is we that's buy your stolen car parts in the bamboo. Now, Dodo Head, you have to prove that Inshan Ishmael ever received or sold a stolen car part in his entire career. I see no report of that. I see no allegation of that. I never hear about Inshan Ishmael selling anything or dealing in anything stolen. But you didn't use double entendre. You didn't just leave it out there like them PNM that just throw aspersions and hope it stick. You were very specific. You said, Ishmael, what the hell wrong with you? Is we does buy your stolen car parts in the bamboo. No, that's very defamatory. that is very specific, and you have no factual basis for writing and singing and disseminating that about Insha and Ishmael. So my brother Crow, your big dance, you go ahead, because that CPEP money, when he finish with you in court, all the CPEP money you make and all the thing the PNM pay you for 7 years will go to Insha and Ishmael. But it's not done there yet, Crow, your dodo head. You're going in your next verse, Crow. I playing bush lawyer for you, know. I trying to help you save your CPEP money. You know. So don't say the douglAR ain't trying to help you. You know. Because when I tell you you're lost because you're not bright. Hear what you sing now. The boy bright, so why the heck Ishmael going for his neck? With all hands on deck is pure racism coming through Ishmael's brain. Another Satmaraj is outside again. From these words, you have come to the conclusion that Insha and Ishmael is a racist because the lawyer boy, what he name, they put on the front page and think who get his scholarship. What he name? I forget his name, but all you know what I'm talking about, right? You are saying that the boy is extremely bright. He earned his position to where he is. And because he earned his position and went through the normal procedures and processes, anybody who attacks the boy had to be a racist. Because Inshan is an Indian and the boy is a black boy. Here's the problem, Crow. The boy is not bright. The boy admitted on radio and TV that he gets 2s and 3s. 2s and 3s do not qualify you to get into law school. So your entire argument falls apart. Because in order for Insha and Ishmael to be a racist, the boy had to be bright. But the boy is not bright. The boy, in fact, is quite dense. 2s and 3s does not qualify. He got a leg up. He got assistance because he was not bright. So therefore, Insha and Ishmael is factually correct in what he is analyzing, and therefore no racist emotion, no racist thought can be placed on Insha and Ishmael as you did here by labeling him a racist without fact. Crow, listen to the douglAR. Write a song. The song name is Insha and Sorry. Don't take me to court. I'm sorry, but God, I double check and I apologize. Okay, Crow? Or else get to pay every last cent. You're going to end up crying like you was crying outside Woodford Square in 2001 November when Joe Newell had to come and sap your tears when your trunk was open with the scotch in your trunk right in front of the High Court by Woodford Square. Take my boy advice. Take your douglAR advice. Okay, Crow? Say sorry, Inshan. Please forgive me. Beg off. And ask him to not sue you, because the bush lawyer telling you, boy, get your checkbook out. And I hope them PNM go support you when you're getting them hundreds of thousands to pay out. Because, Crow, you are the racist. You want to know how Anil could say that? Because I listened to all your kaiso, Crow. Your corruption in common entrance, racist nonsense. You lick bottom African, racist nonsense. You black man, you look for that, racist tata. And then on top of that, you is a liar too, Crow. Watch the video, look at you.
Come off the phone! You kill people! You kill people! And my phone! You can't drive and talk on the phone, you dumb! Fuck you! You the police? All your mother... You will go on the phone again. In my phone. Yeah, go on your phone. It's against the law. It's against the law to drive and be on your phone. You fool. You fool. Hey, man. Boy. Damn God, person people driving a car. Don't mash up the people, man. I driving a 350 Mercedes Benz. I spoke up. Yeah, small car. Yeah.
That's who all your PNM celebrate. That Oh, you driving a 350 Mercedes? Well, Inshan coming for your Mercedes. You like to talk. You're so dotish. You're writing your lies. Plenty people, politicians like me, Jack Warner, whoever, we don't let that pass. Because PNM does lie, you does lie. Who die pay for the cause? That don't bother we. But Inshan take offense. And Inshan coming for your, what? 350 Benz. Oh Lord, from one clown, like the PNM does just find dunce to elevate. A man reaching the Senate, somehow they say, oh gosh, it's a great coup. The Vassant and them say, oh, Larry Lala say, what? Oh my goodness, the PNM got Richie Sukai. I said, but who is this Sukai? Who he help? He's a teacher, who he teach. He's a sportsman, who he coach. He help people get hamper, box train job. What he do? Oh, he run his father business? I said, but then I find out his father and the company, Sukai company, buy air condition for Balise house. And Sukai reach in the Senate. Well, boy, Sukai going to make his debut, boy, Archie. Archie, well, you know me, and they love debate. I want to see who could debate, who could talk, who could develop arguments and things. Because inside the political guile, you had to have something. I want to see who is this Sukai that Larry Lala say, oh Lord, the UNC we lost. What we lost? Look at what we lost. Run it, Archie.
According to the Minister of Local Government, the Honorable Mr. Faris Al-Rawi, stated that the population of municipal police should, Mr. President, clauses 4 and 11 of the amendment reference the legitimize the introduction of new firearm.
Who just jump in on the top into the Senate? What about all them PNM, them grassroots, them black man who is working hard to build and sell the gospel of the PNM, walking door to door street, educating themselves, becoming bright? All of them black brothers and sisters in the PNM who there for years, decades, and they can't get in the Senate. But this Sukai just come in because the air condition cold. Archie, tonight is douglAR politics. I hope we could you all could you share the live? Please share the live. We would like to get the message out to everyone. So please share the live. Okay?
According
Sukai.
to the Minister of Local Government, the Honorable Mr. Faris Al-Rawi, stated that the population of municipal police should, Mr. President, clauses 4 and 11 of the amendment reference the legitimize the introduction of new firearm.
Archie, well, I kind of respond to Richie Sukai in the, I come after him, you know, about a few hours after. You had that clip there, Archie? Let me see, because Richie Sukai, run it there, Archie. Last week was Read Aloud Week for the children of the world and of Trinidad and Tobago. I enjoyed listening to my 8-year-old daughter read aloud. I did not know that today in the Senate was also Read Aloud Day, because they would have been observed Read Aloud Day by the new PNM Senator, Senator Sukai, as he read off his iPad with great difficulty.
According to the Minister of Local Government, the Honorable Mr. Faris Al-Rawi, stated that the population of municipal police should, Mr. President, clauses 4 and 11 of the amendment reference the legitimize the introduction of new firearm.
I think your father should buy more air condition for Balize House for you to jump up above all the hard-working members of the PNM who put their blood, sweat, and tears and would like to get an opportunity to serve the country in the Senate. Tell Daddy, buy more AC. Okay, Richie Sukai? And in that argument that you try to read off of an iPad, me I know if you write it or somebody else write it for you and you didn't read it before, but you're supposed to come and debate, all right? Take notes, take a note, talk, okay? Your brain, you're not able? Well, come out now, Larry. Larry Lala, Vasant, that all your big boy, that all your, because all your, that your friend, that what you saying is such a loss to the UNC? You really serious? The UNC have children of UNC who now putting on a yellow jersey who could do a better job than that. And on top of that, he's a hypocrite because before, 2 months before that contribution, which happened on Tuesday, he had a totally opposite opinion that the private citizens needed weapons and the fund and the FUL process was too slow and you needed to get businessmen and other people their weapons and so on, and then he come in the Senate as a PNM and say the exact opposite and read out the exact opposite thing. But Richie Sukai, I see I open my Daily Express page 22 Wednesday 8th February boy, and I see my brother, my partner boy, hyper hoppy boy. I see him like he's surrounded with OnlyFans boy, Richie Sukai. He's surrounded with OnlyFans, my boy, hyper hopper boy. That is sweet boy. All them girl Richie Sukai, that's just like hoppy boy. He hop on it boy. That is what I'm going to tell you. You understand Sukai? Alright, I know. But it's a local girl. It's a Venezuelan girl like Papi Chulo too. They say hyper hoppy. Me gusta a ti. Tú es un hombre increíble, muy fuerte. Venezuelan woman like Hoppy very much, you know. But then we go in Sukai. Sukai go and tell Daddy buy more air condition, yes? You know, there was a joint select committee meeting of national security and the brand new commissioner of police decided to blanket. But that was not the issue, you know. But that was an issue. Earlier first time out, come on, man. I don't get me to start on you already now. Give me a little breather now. But Puss in Boots, Randall Puss in Boots Mitchell decide that in a joint select committee, it is incumbent upon him, a PNM minister, to defend the independent commissioner of police. Randall Mitchell is such a dunce, he doesn't know that he's trying to defend the independent commissioner of police does not look good for the independent commissioner of police who requires cabinet approval in 4 or 5 months to extend a contract because she'll be too old. Keith Scotland, on the other hand, a little brighter than Randall Puss in Boots Mitchell, he was upset and disturbed and perturbed at the disrespect shown for the parliament by the late withdrawal of the commissioner of police. But Randall Mitchell said, Joint Select Committee member, Tourism Minister Randall Mitchell, better known as Puss in Boots, said he understands the importance of the committee meeting, but sought to defend the commissioner's absence, saying she was busy planning for a safe carnival. Well, boy, ladies and gentlemen, Erla have a lot of work to do, and all you could get locked up with the PNM Safe Carnival. The PNM cabinet approved laws for Carnival about your behavior and so on. Let me read some of the PNM laws that you could get locked up by police for during this Carnival season. Let me read what cabinet of Keith Rowley and Randall Puss in Boots Mitchell approved for Erla Christopher to work hard to miss a joint select committee meeting. 1. A person shall not sing or recite any lewd or offensive song or indulge in behavior or gestures which are immoral, lewd, or offensive. This is from the PNM. Crow, well, you can't sing and nobody can sing nothing you sing. But on top of that, I feel the cabinet under Rowley trying to make Rowley stay inside so he don't catch COVID. Them want Rowley to stay inside for Carnival because the law is that you must not indulge in behavior or gestures which are immoral, lewd, or offensive. Rowley, this not you, boy?
Push back, baby. Push back. Let me go. Bamboo, baby. Take bamboo, gal. Take bamboo, right there, gal. Take bamboo.
So I asked the PNM cabinet, is it immoral, lewd, or offensive for an old married man to leave his wife home and be gyrating, whining, and giving soft bamboo to a 17-year-old girl in the public? Is that lewd or offensive? Is that, because if that is so, it's illegal. So Rowley, stay home, boy. Here's some more laws all you have from the PNM. A person shall not drive any motor vehicle when masked or facially disguised, and or travel in any motor vehicle when masked or facially disguised. In Carnival, you know, Carnival is color, Carnival is costume, Carnival is mask, and then we are just in COVID, and them is the ones who tell we must wear masks with we wife and girlfriend and child, and who you just lie down in home and play and love up and eat and share drink and drink juice and eat food. You have to put your mask in the car. Now you could get locked up if you have on a mask. If all your woman go and put on your facial paint and your mask and so on. Oh Lord, they're breaking down the place in Atlantic Studios. We are refurbishing, not for 131 million, but we are improving the studios here at Atlantic. So if you hear some noise, that's okay. Work going on upstairs. So if all your women go by the makeup artist and put on all your face paint and so on, all you could go in the car and get charged, or you could go in Maxi. They continue. You cannot demand cash while threatening to smear someone and their possessions with paint or mud, because while it may be good-natured fun for you, it is illegal in the eyes of the law. So Blue Devils, Kambule, African culture, mass, freedom, expression, enjoyment, entertainment. Blue Devils are now illegal. They got money, and you give them a little dollar and so on, you pay the devil. That Kaiso must be immoral to pay the devil. To all of that. This is what the PNM says. Behavior or gestures which are immoral, lewd, or offensive. You cannot throw any substance, matter, or thing likely to cause damage, injury, or discomfort. So you can't throw people, wait, but like they even outlaw Pagua too? Because Juve outlaw, you can't, when you go Juve, they throw anything on you. Anything and everything. They're saying you cannot throw any substance, matter, or thing likely to cause damage, injury, or discomfort. So you feel comfortable when you get wet down with paint or mud or cocoa or oil. That has caused discomfort. So the whole of Juve, all you're going to lock up, pay them, all they play, all they're stupid, you know. They cannot, or any other person, any substance with the intent to intimidate or to obtain any money or valuable thing is illegal. Other illegal acts include having any public place, any explosive flame, or any article of an offensive nature. So all them fire breathers, them blue devil who just blow fire, them could get locked up. Police could throw them in a van and take them down because of the PNM. Driving a car when explosive or smoke producing devices are not allowed while driving any vehicle made to resemble a tank, armored vehicle, rocket launcher. All you have a costume like a rocket launcher or some kind of thing. If you're playing mass for Ukraine or wherever, don't make no costume, you could get locked up. Right? Anyway, let me also say, I see in the papers, I'm just saying from the PNM laws, some of you all illegal, look up fire breather here. You could get locked up, So you watch yourself. Look and see Caesar's Army, the PNM, Sobian and them, nice party. But oh Lord, ladies, all you're whining, looking good, but you see your tongue out and looking kind of, I don't know. The PNM says that could be offensive. It could be lewd. Or you could get locked up. This is not no joke, you know. There's a cabinet note read by the government. All the ministers read it and say, yes. Yes, man, yes. But anyway, I must say, Carnival and Trinidad and Tobago, even amidst the incompetence of the PNM, Sometimes something just give you goosebumps, seeing the unity and the love and the teamwork. Archie, play the sweet soca for me. Right.
We can't start. So we have to stop. We can't play no music, but we can jump. 1, 2, take that promise to forget. Look at people by the show, emotions on it. We are not ready.
That is brilliant, and that is people, that is Trinidad and Tobago. Every culture, every creed, every race find an equal place. Nobody ain't going in no calypso tent to pay them money to be abused by racist, disgusting PNM calypsonians. All you understand that? All you can't understand that? But then, check this now. When you go party and so on, and the PNM have no plan to keep you safe, you can't all air safe. Watch battery thieves on the run. Watch it.
Watch that. Battery. 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 Battery.
Battery. While battery, man getting the car, you can't park nowhere, gone. The police charging an all-inclusive fete. For 20 years, this had gone on, not even a scuffle, far less for a fight, of a school fete to raise funds, to enhance the school, to build labs, to get equipment, sport, to improve the school. The police of Trinidad and Tobago, in a fete that never even had a scuffle, charging the promoters of a Fatima fete that is to raise funds for the school. The principal, Father Gregory Augustine, had to pay $42,691 to the police for a fete that don't even have cuss out. And a fete also that attracts many ministers of government with their special brand security. A fete that is also sponsored by a security company, the safest, best company, TSC. But the Fatima group, so $42,600 taken away from school children by the police. Earl Christopher, can anybody say refund? And on that note, I want to know if the Army fete had to pay how much? 100,000 for police? I thought Army fete is the safest fete with the Army protecting it. This something is wrong. Commissioner of Police Christopher, I expect you to look into that. But while you're talking about safety, and they're talking about the safest carnival, and Earl Christopher missed meeting because the carnival must be safe, okay, but all you must be safe. The Junction is an app that everybody must download. If you are playing mass, if you have a family member playing mass, if you are transporting people who are playing mass, you must download this app, because this app shows you where each and every band is on the road, in Tong, in Cuba, in San Fernando, wherever. You have to pick up people you want to drop, you want to make sure they're safe. Download The Junction. It's a local app created by a local company, local people, and amazing for safety and security. Download it now. Put it on your phone. The Junction. Global food prices decline. All over the world, food prices going down, but not here. Why? Because we have the PNM. Businesses not obliged to raise prices when TNTech rates rise, says Paula Gopi-Schoon. Really? They're not obliged to? Is this what business is about? Oblige and courtesy? Business about profit motive, maximization of profit, Paula Gopi-Schoon. If you increase the raw materials, the prices will increase. Don't come with no nonsense here. Your RIC going to increase rates because the PNM dictates that they are going to increase rates? Regardless of people's circumstance, regardless of consultation, regardless that 99.9% of the people are telling the RIC, hold strain, not now, things bad. You were looking at 2015 information. But imagine in Barbados, what's going on? People raise a little noise, Bajans to save on electricity bills because Mia Moore Motley cares about her people. And next one, Archie, I read a letter here. I didn't even know this man was still awake. Trevor Sudama. You could move the on. Oh, hey, look, Trevor Sudama. He talking about the UNC stuck in no man's land. Let me tell you something, Trevor Sudama. You is not no ordinary blight. You are a generational blight. So please don't give me no advice about nothing. You is a man, for your selfish reasons, who collapsed a perfectly good government, who had brilliant, intelligent people charting the future of Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody here want to hear you. So whatever hole you was in, crawl back in and go and lie down, because you are a generational blight. Move in. Trevor must be fired. PNM Tobago leader alleges corruption in the THA. PNM Tobago political leader Ansel Dennis has alleged bid rigging in a 19 million THA Division of Infrastructure contract. And he is calling on Chief Secretary Farley Augustine to immediately fire Trevor James as Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development. In October, the THA awarded a contract to a company allegedly within 24 hours of receiving its proposal. Well, Ansel Dennis, Mr. PNM, if you're calling on that, right? And you need to give more information because 24 hours you have to talk about the process and so on. Well, Ansel Dennis, I want to hear you about Noel Garcia and Udicott when they were doing the tender for the hospital central block. You ain't talk about that? When they had tenders at TSTT, and TSTT said they had a glitch, and there was a glitch, and then the company that come in after the glitch and the date passed, them happened to win. I didn't hear you say nothing about that. What about the CCTV cameras? The contract that the SSA tell the government hold up after the date, and a new company enter, and that new Canadian company win the tender. You ain't call for nobody to go. You're selective, boy, Ansel Dennis. If you're being selective, shh, hush your mouth, okay, Ansel Dennis? Right? What about Rowley and Rohan with Bridgemans? The ferry service? Up to now, all is still suffering from that collapse. And Rowley says crooked money, and they had no tendering process. The tendering process was flawed because Bridgemans could not even qualify to provide any sort of vessel. What about that, Ansel Dennis? You didn't talk about that. Leave that. Okay, Ansel Dennis. All's not well at Agricola, says the Business Guardian. Business Guardian, this is very nice, you know. Maybe. And an issue now developing, we'll investigate at Agricola. How come, Business Guardian, we never saw such a big headline with Venture Credit Union? When Venture Credit Union taking money from MTS and there's no contract with Venture Credit Union, deposited it in Venture Credit Union account and then transferring it to the account of a sitting PNM minister, $1.8 million and $4.4 million and many other questions. I didn't see no headline balling. All's not well at Venture Credit Union. Why is that, Guardian? The Guardian of Rowley's incompetent, corrupt government. Why is that? Is this government singing from the IMF hymn book? This is an article from the Express Business on Wednesday, February 8, 2023. Anthony Wilson. Now, Anthony Wilson, me and he does argue plenty. He leaned towards the PNM. You understand? Easy man was telling me about the smelter plant, good and all kind of thing. But Anthony Wilson comes to say, is this government, and he talking about this now Wednesday gone day, singing from the IMF hymn book, because he's basically saying that Coleman Butt said we would have to remove all subsidies on water and electricity. We in this government have sought to do our own restructuring without the imposition of the IMF conditionalities. We'll remove all subsidies on government supplied goods and services. According to Mr. Imbert, all the Caribbean countries that received IMF assistance during the pandemic had to agree to commit to 3 conditionalities: reduce the size of the public service, remove all subsidies on government goods and services, allow the exchange rate to float. But, says Anthony Wilson, the more interesting point in the long excerpt from Mr. Imbert's June 11, 2021 address was his affirmation that the current administration is seeking to do its own restructuring without IMF conditionalities. Here's the proof of the government's non-IMF restructuring. Government attempting to remove or reduce subsidies on water and electricity. 2023 budget presentation, Mr. Imbert told Parliament that the government subsidies WASA and TIATEC to the tune of 2.7 billion, with going into WASA and 700 million into TIATEC. It would be instructive whether the government follows the recommendation of the Regulated Industries Commission. Capping the fuel subsidy, limiting the salary offered to employees of the public service, preparing the country for the implementation of the property tax, the passage in 2021 of the Gambling Betting Control Act. Is the government, says Anthony Wilson, singing from the IMF hymn book. This is Wednesday, February 8, 2023. Archie, please take me back in time. Woo, 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 woo. The IMF prescriptions, for example, because don't just think that I will come here and just make up things. There's something called prior action. So let's go to pre-COVID. What did this government do from 2015 to 2020? They cut expenditure in everything. I just told you: sport cut, laptop cut, education cut, food card cut, special grants cut, everything down to school feeding, food for children cut. They removed price controls. It began, we remember our Minister of Finance said, hey, I moved the subsidy once, I move it twice, I move it 3 times, and they ain't riot yet. I go move it again, and what? It was totally honest because it all gone now. Then, what is the other prescription? You have to increase revenue. So they increase taxes. We get tax on online tax. We get increased taxes across the board. They put back VAT on food. And this is another prescription after COVID now. During COVID, because we're not after it yet, we're in the midst of it. They want to increase revenue further. So yes, you have to come with the revenue authority. So Baigan farmer, all kind of farmer, plantain farmer, potato, cassava, doublesmen, we have to look out. Then they need to reduce expenditure under the IMF prescriptions. What do? Mass retrenchment. Now you freeze the public service. People have lost jobs across the board. We have no data. The next step of IMF says is privatization. Do I need to tell you? Everything selling out one by one. Now is the port. We have other things coming. And then the last prescription in the IMF is to say stop forex leakages. So all of these prescriptions, 100% of the policies implemented, the structural adjustment, the taxation, the cuts in expenditure, and everything enunciated in this budget smells IMF, but it's spelled PNM. I was just reading a little fairy tale online for my daughter, 6-year-old Anaya, and it was about fairy tales and fantasy about a dwen. And the fairy tale said, if it look like a dwen, smell like a dwen, dance like a dwen, smile and grin like a dwen, is a dwen. So to use that analogy with this budget, if it look like IMF, feel like IMF, read like IMF, and bring pain to the people like the IMF, then it is IMF. That was Tuesday, October 27th, 2020. And now, in February 2023, Anthony Wilson is now asking if the PNM following IMF prescriptions without the pain. Don't study the noise. We fixing up Atlantic Studios. We ponging up the place. We're not spending no 131 million. As we talking about construction, all you see construction stop in the Diego Martin interchange. All you people in Diego Martin, all you find, wait now, this interchange that Rohan and Rowley and them was building, it just stopped over the last few months. it reached a certain part and it stopped. Archie, could you believe? All you want to know why it stopped? And I dare Rohan and Rowley to tell me a lie. When they finish the interchange and you're supposed to come into Westmoreland, the design of a 2-lane roundabout by the traffic lights by Super Farm and International School, the Westmoreland traffic light. For 2 lanes, that's the design that Rohan and the PNM create. When they come through now and they bring the thing, they realize they need 4 lanes, they need more space. So they have to acquire land from Super Farm car park and the International School football field in order to do the roundabout. So the work stopped because they have to go and acquire the land. They have to either negotiate or take it through compulsory acquisition. That's what's coming to Super Farm and to the International School today. That's why it stopped. So licensing office, Archie says they are aware. Let me read this for all you know, because all you cannot believe, this is the truth, that in Trinidad and Tobago, citizens have to line up from 6 p.m. the day before for 8 a.m. appointment the next day. And that's what Rohan says is PNM perfect performance. You could put it up, but it's just an image. When licensing is aware of the inconvenience, the licensing authority is mindful of the fact that a number of persons visiting approved vehicle testing stations continue to experience challenges and delays as a result of either or a possible combination of the following: vehicle not located, incorrect tier weight, incorrect MGW, incorrect chassis number. In order to address this matter with less inconvenience to the customer, you are no longer required to utilize the appointment system or to visit licensing office. Well, boy, Archie showed the video of the trucks lining up, people lining up to sleep to wait for appointment in the PNM Ministry of Works and Transport. Run it. And that was in Carani, and it was in San Fernando, and all over this country. And Richie Sukai, a businessman, do you know how much productivity was lost with that process? How much wasted time of productivity with the trucks and transportation system to businesses in this country? Do you know how much money was lost by businessmen? And a man who say he's a businessman, the head of the Chaguanas chamber, who's now a PNM senator of air condition, come inside the Senate to read off an iPad and tell me Rohan good. I cannot make this up. Run it, Archie. Senator Sukai on debut decided to big up the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport for a new digital license. That was excellent. However, at 7:20, while the Honorable Senator Sukai was speaking, was he aware that in San Fernando, there was a line of over 200 cars parked up at 6 p.m. for 8 a.m. appointments the next morning? I want you to big him up for that also. I too might big up the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport. Despite the infrastructural degradation, potholes, traffic, collapse of bridges, landslides, devastating flooding, if I had a...
Senator Roberts.
Hey, let me tell you something here, boss man. One president just get elected by the PNM based on how she interrupt the douglAR. It ain't gonna happen twice. She have a 5 years PNM Balize flag over the president's house. So leave me, let me debate now. But Trinidad and Tobago clearly is not a real place, because a man who say the one thing he know about is business because he father had a business and he father business so good that the business is to buy air condition for Balize house. He's a businessman. But bigging up a man who thwarting business across the whole country simultaneously as he get up to talk, that was going on, and he had no clue. But Trinidad and Tobago is not a real place, because Keith Christopher Rowley, back when he was trying to talk about a stupid man from England with a kind of red head, a madman who was trying to attack the People Partnership government about what? Some Analytica. And the police investigators said there's nothing stupidness. Rowley come out and say Trinidad is not a real place. But the same Rowley come and call in people idiots. And all the idiots who disagree with him and his policy of oppression, his tyrannical oppression and dictatorship, his putting up Balize in President's house, his putting a Balize in the Police Service Commission, his putting Balize in Calypso, in everything, turning Trinidad and Tobago into a cesspit of Balize Jews. Anybody who disagree with him, which is like 90% of the population, just waiting on a chance to vote. Them is idiots, and he go send them Ukraine. Run it, Archie. Mr. President, reading this piecemeal, rushed, haphazard Firearms Amendment Bill 2022 brought to the Senate by this failed PNM government in an atmosphere of runaway crime, pain and fear in the hearts and minds of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I am left asking myself, if Trinidad and Tobago is in fact a real place.
We're talking about whether Trinidad and Tobago is a real place. I wish, every time I read that, I wish they end up in Ukraine.
And I am not going to Ukraine. I, along with my UNC colleagues, will be right here fighting tooth and nail against the tyranny and oppressive nature of this PNM government until they are resoundingly removed from office by a united people. Satan, move, let we pass. Move, Satan, move, let we pass. Rowley, go in Lake Oto and lie down. Stay there. Make your bed right there where you deserve to be. Because any prime minister who in any form or fashion would make fun of another nation, a sovereign nation who is being ravaged by war, children are being killed by bombs, missiles, no school, no electricity in the height of winter, freezing to death, starving, living in fear. Any human being, far less for a prime minister, who will find that it's something funny to say about sending his citizens there, is a total jackass. And you, Rowley, you never fail to impress those of us who know what an idiot you are. Because that could never be funny. That could never be diplomatic. That should never enter the thought processes. What's your next joke? Send people to Turkey and Syria, those who criticize your government? Is that your next joke? Ulla Christopher, Madam Commissioner of Police, I see in the Guardian headline you said, I will resist all political overtures. Ulla Christopher, while you may think that sound good, resist does not mean that you will succeed in resisting. Resist is a soft word when it comes to political overtures. You are to lock up anybody who makes political overtures to you, who tries to tell you to bring politics into your job. You have the authority to take away people's freedom, livelihood, and property. So it's not that you will resist, you will lock up. That's what you need to say. I will lock up anybody who tries to make political overtures to me, who tries to encourage me to breach my oath. I will deal with the law. I will throw every law at them, for I am independent, and my constitutional duty and oath is to be that. not to resist. So you resist. So Rowley come and whisper in your ears, you resist him. But according to Diane Gadsby Dolly, he's very potent. So he come the next day and you resist him. And he come the third day with Fitzgerald, Ethelbert, Sleepy, Narcolepsy, Nappy, Hines. And then your resistance break down because you didn't take vitamin C. No, Earla Christopher. Not you will resist. You must reject out of hand any political overtures whatsoever from any politician. 3 senior specialist pilots resigned from Air Guard. The last 3, because it was 23 and it went down to 3, they still had no plane, they still had no helicopter. Stuart Smallpen Young lie in the Senate and talking about they were going to do this and invest in the radar system and improve. None of those things happen. The Air Guard is decimated, our borders are porous, and you all had Rowley laughing at Kamala when Kamala said she'll create a security dome, because you all didn't understand what a security dome is. The PNM says no, but you all vote for this. Keep the Nelson file sealed. Now all the newspapers have gone soft on this issue. Remember the Express and Guardian were saying this is a critical issue and independent institutions must act because there's criminal activity there and criminal charges must be laid and all of this. State urges the judge, state meaning PNM, the government, keep Nelson file sealed. This is the file where Faris Al-Rawi went and negotiated an indemnity and signed it on behalf of the PNM cabinet and government with a criminal. A witness in a criminal trial and a confessed criminal, usurping the authority of the independent DPP. This is what the Nelson file is. Due to the extensive and sustained public debate on the matter, the state was anxious to avoid extensive and sustained public debate on the pleadings and the evidence, since they were very likely to form a significant part of the evidence in a future prosecution. So the PNM don't want the information to come out about Rowley, about Fitzgerald, about Faris Al-Rawi and the interaction with Roger K. Singh and Nelson. They don't want that to come out at all. They don't want no debate. They don't want no discussion. But in the Senate, Hines says 34,000 FUL applications before the Commissioner of Police. 34,000. Now Richie Sukai, when he was in a different place and not a PNM air-conditioned buyer, had said that this is untenable. The PNM shutting down and stopping the approval process for FULs was hurting businessmen who were under siege by criminal elements. But now he's a PNM in the cold air condition. He said, nah, that's all right, don't worry that. He changed the tune. But 34,000 FUL applications before the Commissioner of Police. But Rowley and Fitzgerald Hines playing games on a witch hunt to catch Gary Griffith. The government deletes bad clause in Firearms Amendment Bill. The police commissioner's power to extend the validity of the firearm user's license beyond 3 years is intact, and the National Security Minister won't have that power. This after government caved early yesterday morning in the Senate on a controversial clause in the Firearms Amendment Bill following arguments from independent and opposition senators against it. The government eventually deleted the clause from the bill. Imagine PNM government and Fitzgerald and Talbot Hines want to have control over who could get gun for how long and if it could extend. That's what they want. And then you see the Express editorial. They come up Express trying to big up the senators now. Put it up there, Archie. Right? Read this carefully. God save, good save, senators. Senators on both the independent and opposition benches have served the public interest well in forcing the government to withdraw a clause in the Firearms Amendment Bill that would have effectively allowed politicians to encroach on the police commissioner's authority. Now go up, go up, go up. Go up, I'm going way down, right? Now, but here they have to stick in now, you see? They can't just realize or state to the population that the PNM is oppressive and trying to control every aspect of our lives. Hear them. That the Parliament has sometimes missed legislative amendments of serious consequences, most notably the infamous Section 34. They had to bring back Section 34 in order for you to equate or equivocate between the PNM and the UNC, right? Right. If Minister Hines had chosen coyness in piloting the bill, Attorney General Reginald Armour had no such qualms in defending the government's position bid to trespass on the police commissioner's authority. He argued that giving the minister the power to extend the validity of the firearm license did not affect the commissioner's power to revoke it. Since we assume, says the Express, that AG Armour knows the difference between operational and constitutional authority, we will dismiss his argument as a case of willful blindness. That's a nice, pretty, democratic, diplomatic way of saying he flipping lie. The entire point, right? And they go right up to the top now. The logic, yet it still risked it, and thanks to the diligence of some senators, it failed, right? Because the PNM was coming to try to control, and you must remember that Rudal Munilal told and caught Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines in a joint select committee that he was trying to use his ministerial position to get favors for citizens who he required or he wanted to assist, which is not on. All citizens must be treated fairly and evenly under the law. For a minister to use his position to help anyone to advance their cause is unethical, immoral, illegal, and breaches the Integrity in Public Life Act. Archie reminded people of how Munilal not only caught Fitzgerald Ethelbert Narcolepsy Hines, but how he had to confess, and he realized that he lied in the Joint Select Committee. Run it.
On the policy issue of whether ministers ought to be recommending persons for FUL, you indicated then that you had no recollection that you recommended persons. Minister, I'm inviting you to reflect on that and to correct yourself.
I'm saying I have no recall of recommending anybody for any firearm.
My question to the Honorable Minister is, Minister, on a more relaxed reflection, you recommended 10 persons for firearm to the then Commissioner of Police, and I leave it there.
I want the record to read. I made no recommendation to any commissioner for anybody for any firearm. I can explain in greater detail, but it would be risky and foolish and stupid, and I will not follow that
greater
trend.
detail.
However,
greater detail.
Suffice it to say, I recommended no one for no firearm.
All I can say is the hypocrisy by the three Musketeers of Keith Rowley, Fitzgerald Hines, and McDonald Jacobs. It is mind-boggling. These three individuals give the impression that recommending persons to have firearms or law-abiding citizens acquiring firearms is the worst thing. But these three individuals cannot in any way state that they were not instrumental or being a part of trying to assist persons, many persons, in acquiring firearms.
And I want to tell you this. I, Mr. President, never asked nobody to give no license to no partner or no family.
He went on to confirm that he recommended 4 or 5 persons, he said. But in the Joint Select Committee, he said he did not recommend anyone. And it does not matter what job they do. It doesn't matter if they're a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, a fire officer, a prisons officer. If citizens have to follow the law and apply for a firearms user's license, they have to go through the process. It is inappropriate, unethical, immoral, and illegal for any minister to utilize their position to expedite and process for any citizen, no matter what job they're doing, or whether there's a friend, a girlfriend, or the man. So Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines, you big dunce, you confess to a crime in the Senate, and David Lee and the parliamentarians downstairs will move a motion of privilege as he has done at the next sitting, and you will, well, anyway, Blue Lady will save all this, so it don't matter. But the population is aware of your dishonesty, Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines. And the Guardian opinion said about the red flag in firearms amendment bill, the government needs little reminder of the dent in public confidence caused by recent fiascos such as the August 2021 withdrawal of the police commissioner merit list and the disappearance of the file related to the wrongful prosecution case by the former Vindra Naipal Kuhlman murder case accused. Anything short of full transparency in this matter can only add more fuel to the fire. The government needs little reminder of the dent, just a dent, Guardian, in public confidence from the withdrawal of the merit list, Rowley whispering in the president's ears and getting Bliss Sipasad to misbehave in public office and break the law, causing Trinidad and Tobago to have no commissioner of police, and murder after murder with police having no guidance, no ability, no motivation, no passion to solve crime, no resources, and games being played at the highest level. You call that a dent? A little ding? A dent in the confidence? What about the Nelson Gate indemnity? Was that a dent also? Mark, no audits of SSA for 12 years. And he produced a letter from Pujadas, the Auditor General. But Hines lying in the Senate and saying he had correspondence from the SSA. Saying, hey, we asked the Auditor General, or we tell the Auditor General, yeah, we ready. Come and check we. The Auditor General, the independent office, said that there'd be no audit of the SSA. This SSA is who Ethelbert and Rowley, when Gary Griffith was there and he had the spying device, Pegasus brother, he kept it half and half. So SSA, which is political, and the police, which is independent, they will have to work together for it to work. When they moved Gary Griffith after whispering in the president's ear for Bliss Sipasad to breach the law and misbehave in public office to thwart the merit list, Keith Rowley and Fitzgerald Hines with DCP Jacob took both pieces and put it in the political arm where the politicians control. And now Fitzgerald Hines is trying to say in the Senate without producing an iota of evidence. But Wade Mark produced the evidence to show that SSA has not been audited in 12 years. The file was never missing, but all of we with our brain knew that. We knew that Reginald Armour lied, that a judge, a sitting judge who was a lawyer at the time, would not go and make pleadings, make a case, make recommendations and argue in a court without a file. But now we have the new thing of an investigator appointed by the PNM being given instructions on a PNM letterhead of the Office of the Attorney General and doing a press conference about an investigation that he conducted. Stanley John, let me just leave you, yes? Saga of the lost and found files, says the Daily Express. And this is the Express, and all these newspapers have us in this mess for upholding Keith Christopher Rowley. Now that the file was apparently never lost, has been returned to, now that the file that was apparently never lost has been returned to his office, Attorney General Reginald Armour should rethink his decision to hire not one but two retired judges to investigate its presumed disappearance. In this case, however, taxpayers may not be paying extra to solve a non-mystery, but to finance a wild goose chase designed to distract the population from core questions. If there is to be an investigation in this matter, it should start with the rush to judgment on the basis of what appears to be a superficial inquiry before spreading affairs of sinister happenings inside the AG's office. Part 1 of this so-called investigation was initiated by the then acting AG, Stuart Young, who publicly announced an investigation into the state's failure to enter defense within hours having returned to office from a trip abroad. The substantive AG raised the temperature with the suggestion of sinister matters afoot and sending the entire country into wild speculation about the disappeared file. Express all of this about an attorney general sitting representing the country, and you are yet to print on the front page, AG, go now? Now that the file is back where it belongs, the real matter to be investigated is the poor quality of management in the AG's office that has led to such howlers, having already cost the country millions of dollars by failing to put in a defense in this case. The office cannot be allowed to keep running up the tab on taxpayers' account by continuing with this charade. the issue smacks of managerial incompetence and political deflection. Political deflection is an altogether different matter. In this case, it can be summed up by the very succinct Trinbagonian phrase of taking in front before in front takes you. Now the Chief Justice, you're also silent. You're saying there's an investigation going on and you're not saying anything. Kamla Prasad Bisesa has asked you and your honorable judge to clear the air on whether she had the file or not when she made arguments. Very simple question, but we will wait. Old mass at AG's office. The UNC wants the copy lek. Earlier, you have a job to do. Go, don't take no investigation from no politician. You said you will resist political overtures. Go and investigate. Misstep after misstep, says the Sunday Express. Undeterred by the scandal of the 20 million judgment in default against the state for malicious prosecution of 9 former murder accused and the international embarrassment of having his attorney general disqualified from appearing in the Piarco airport corruption case in Miami, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and his AG are now on a fishing expedition for a disappeared file. An expanding fiasco, says the Express editorial on Monday, 6 February. The chronology of events leading to the judgment in default against the state with damages of 20 million demonstrates a different and far more disturbing state of affairs at the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs than was described by AG Reginald Armour last week. Thanks to an exclusive Sunday Express report, we now know that the sequence of court notifications to ministry personnel extended far beyond the one purportedly disappeared file identified by AG Armour. Instead, what the facts show is that several members of the ministry's legal staff had been served court documents over a period spanning the tenure of 2 AGs, Faris Al-Rawi and Reginald Armour. The fact that actions were taken consequent to some of the notices would suggest that they did not go missing. The cost of lies, says Kyle Taklal Singh. What is the cost of lies? It's not that we confuse it with the truth. The real danger is we hear enough lies, we don't recognize the truth at all. Our Attorney General's office is now ground zero for irredeemable and successive constitutional disasters. With each day, it resembles less of the noble and revered institution once occupied by giants such as Ramage Lawrence Mirage, SC, Carl Hudson Phillips, Keith Sobian, and like a nuclear disaster zone. And he continues, again, much like the Miami court misrepresentation and now the missing file mystery, the damage done to what we hope would be an engine room of democracy, our Attorney General's office, will leave a permanent and lasting dead zone. The common thread of this ignominious occurrence is lies. As a people and a society, we have been abused by the state. Lies, and these lies are catching up to us slowly but inevitably. Those of us who stay silent enable them. Those of us who defend them are ensuring our republic's demise. And those of us who wish to resist them are becoming few and far between. Lies after lies and the arrogance. I told my father after Tuesday's sitting of the Senate, I said, Daddy, I'm vexed with mommy. He said, Baba, how you could be angry with your beloved mother? I said, that woman brought me into this world and she left me with shame inside of me. Shame, I have shame. He said, I mean, I said, why she didn't leave out that part? That we have shame. Because like the PNM have no shame. They'll do anything, they lie anyhow and they don't bother them. They have no conscience, they have no shame. I said, oh Lord, Daddy, I vexed with mommy for making me born with a conscience. Because I gone in the Senate and see Reginald Armour sit down there and he gone pontificating and telling us about his, when he was educated and what rules he was taught. Well, here what happened? Run it. The Attorney General regaled us with a story. He said he talked about the rule that he was taught by Brother Burdell to him in high school about the rules of debate.
And one of the rules that my teacher taught me, said to me when you were debating Young Armour.
Well, I asked the Honorable Attorney General, I wonder if Brother Bordell taught the AG about the rules of perjury. That man is bereft of shame. That man put on a suit after lying and bawling about a missing file, costing the taxpayers 20 million and more. That man, after going to say he appealed when he signed an affidavit and lied that he was not a senior counsel and he was a mere note taker. That man, after getting a double whammy, dress up in a suit, come and sit down in the Senate, and then talking in his contribution, defending a PNM bill to usurp the authority of the Commissioner of Police. He talking with arrogance still. That man has no shame. The PNM has no shame. And you, the people, you're on your own. So protect yourself. Be vigilant, because the PNM say, and Fitzgerald Etelbert, Narcolepsy, Sativa, Sleepy, Pumsite, Rasta, Hines say, his work is not to come up with no policy or national security plan. Run it.
I heard Senator Lachmidial asking about what is the government's plan. Well, I just want to say this. The police service has a strategic plan, and the police service have anti-crime plan. Not the minister. I don't come up with no plan.
What can I say? Elections have consequences. Stop the nonsense, stop the division. Get together, unite, all brains on deck. PNM has to go. Indubitably, PNM is the worst government with Keith Rowley at its helm in the history of the Caribbean, not only Trinidad and Tobago. We are unsafe, nothing works. Our economy is shattered and tattered and torn. Your pockets are empty. Your money, the value of it is dwindling. You can hardly afford to go to the grocery. They are blaming everybody else but themselves. Our sportsmen and sportswomen are out there on their own, facing a world of competition, ill-prepared, because our lady want to buy Louis Vuitton bag. Elections have consequences. Join with the United National Congress, one leader, one party, lots of brains to move forward. Stop with the egos. It's not about individual, it's not about self-aggrandizement, it's about a team, a country, a nation. The problems are thousands, hundreds of thousands of problems in this country that require cogent, collective thought, creative thought, and solutions. The United National Congress under Kamala Prasad Bisesa presents you with these solutions at every juncture. Sport, culture, education, infrastructure, economic, jobs, moving forward, future, transport, diversification, corporate governance, procurement. Every juncture, the UNC has a plan. Security dome, border protection. The PNM has left you naked and afraid. Get rid of the PNM. Call for elections now. And to the Express, celebrating Faris and the PNM's victory of denying the people the opportunity to vote. Express, you've been unmasked. You've put PNM and politicians ahead of the people. And that's why your sales are dwindling. That's why your advertisement revenue is dwindling. And that's why no one is reading you, Express. To the people of Trinidad and Tobago, thank you for paying attention. Be safe. God bless. Good night.